it's Tina.
And Whitney.
And this is The Joy Within the Journey, sponsored by Nurse Leadership Solutions. Welcome.
Hi, everybody. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. I tell you what, Whitney, where in the world have we been?
We've been busy.
We have been busy.
Real busy. Summer flew by.
Summer flew by.
It's gone.
We had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And some not so much fun.
Yeah.
My last episode was with my parents. And that was a killer for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really was. We had a great time, brought back a lot of great memories, but
oh my God, your dad's so funny.
My dad kind of threw me under the bus a few times.
Yeah.
And my dad is so funny, but as you could see in the video that, you know, we're at the whole reason that I feel like I
took a break
is because of my parents.
Yeah.
And trying to help them. I did have a couple really intensive assignments, and that we'll talk a little bit about. But overall, I spent my summer. My sister and I did a hard thing. We thought it was going to be so challenging. We kind of prepared a whole presentation with pictures and funny things and everything else to go tell my parents it's time. It's time to downsize. You can't take care of a 2-story house that has steps coming in and out of it. And they said, okay.
So they were ready. They were ready.
One of these. They were ready.
Yeah.
But then I was like,
oh man, now we got to get to work.
I know.
That's a big job.
What in the world? I was shocked. We were both shocked because I didn't expect him to say yes.
Yeah.
I kind of expected the fight. I kind of expected everything. You know, we put funny things on there. So I have a detached garage that's across my driveway, and it's a single level, and it's the perfect size for a big studio apartment that is that we can make handicap accessible, as you know, Whitney, but not everybody else knows. And you know what? I will give you a tour on one of the episodes once we get it done, because I think that would be awesome to show how we kind of thought and about each thing that they would need and how we can do end of life. I hate to say end of life. We're not at end of life, but we're at the senior citizen preparing for this to be their forever home.
Yeah.
And, you know, so there was a lot of thought that went into each thing of how am I going to care for them as their nurse? How are they going to get around? How are they going to have what they need to stay right there? Which also come to a whole different challenge for me of, I love senior care. I really do. But I want my parents with me.
Yeah.
Like everybody does. And that's been a little bit of a turmoil for me, because I sometimes I think, does it make me question my own purpose? And
well, we have been advocates for long-term care for you 20 plus years, me 15 plus years. That's
so I'm going to jump right into something. First of all, if any of you don't know Bob Goff, this is Catching Whimsy. I actually seen Brookday Senior Living is into Catching Whimsy, the book, and Bob Goff, I think, is doing something with them. And I love this guy. I love his books.
I've heard you talk of him. I have not read any of his books, but I've heard you talk of him.
The first book is a daily, you know, he's got many books, but there's one that's a daily devotional, so to say.
Yeah.
You know, and they are, you know, God-based, but they're also real life-based. So I think but, you know, last night I was like really thinking about, what am I going to do today? I got to get back on track. I got to, you know, go back to work after doing this thing with my parents, which we'll talk more about. And I decided I'm going to pick up this book. And I'm going to read just one page because it's important. And I picked up the book and I thought, well, let's go to actually today's. And it was October 12th, which let me get to. And, you know, interesting, I went and toured a couple assisted livings last Friday. And I know I was familiar with both of them, but we're looking at for my significant other's mother. Mm-hmm. And I know assisted living in and out, but when you're touring, when you're preparing an apartment for your parent or touring assisted living for another loved one, it's still different. You're looking at it differently. What would I want? It's different when I'm running operations in an assisted living or a nursing home, as people would call them. There is a difference. It's like, okay, is this what I want for myself? Is this what I want for her? Is this what I want? So, not everybody understands my purpose, because not many people can sit here and say, I love senior care, especially nurses. Nurses are not flooding into senior care like nobody's business. But I decided last night to open this book. I am getting old. I turned 50 also since the last time you guys seen me. So it was a great time. I'm not upset about being 50, but I do have to wear my glasses if you expect me to read anything. But I'm going to read this to you guys because some things are just like speak to you. So I opened it up last night. I thought, there's my book. I'm going to dust it off, open it up, see what October 12th says. Don't abandon your purpose just because you don't understand it yet. The Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Your steadfast love, O Lord, endures forever. Do not forsake the work of your hands. Psalms 138:8. Jesus said lots of things the disciples who were with him didn't understand. They were confusion over Jesus' purpose, his friends, his miracles, his power, his Father, and what he said would happen next. Even after years of following him, Jesus' disciples didn't fully understand who he was. They were confused about why he came as a baby and died like a criminal, and why he didn't call down a million angels from heaven to save him from being crucified. The truth is, we are all bound to be misunderstood at some point in our lives. And that speaks to me because, again, I was touring assisted livings. I ran into some people, and, some of them had great things to say, some not so much. And I'm sitting there going, I love senior care. And, they're looking at me like I'm crazy. And also my, not always understood in the workplace because I'm a little, out there sometimes. Might be a great communicator or a brilliant business person or the kindest person ever, yet there will be times when people don't understand you and your purpose. It is what we do on the outside when this kind of predictable disconnection happens that tells the world about who we are on the inside. Jesus could have given in to the subtle pressures to change his plan and be the conquering king his disciples were expecting, but he didn't. He knew why he was here and why he was to do, and he wasn't going to let other people misunderstanding of his purpose derail and distract him from his focus. You're going to be misunderstood. It's probably happened yesterday, just happened today, or will happen tomorrow. Don't let the noise distract you from your purpose. God has given you a special gift to release into the world during one brief time here. Trust that what isn't clear right now to do people around you might be clear later. And if it's not, in a word, tough. We are not trying to build consensus around our ideas. We are here to participate in Jesus' kingdom, and this will leave more than a few people scratching their heads about what you're doing. Stay the course. Let the Lord fulfill his purpose in you. Be willing to be misunderstood. God is doing bigger things than we can sometimes understand.
It's good.
It was good for me because I do have a purpose, and senior care is just always going to be it. And sometimes I even question it. I tell you, this whole thing with my parents is like, I'm like, why do I want them with me so bad and not somewhere else? And it's because they're my parents. And, even when they're being difficult. And yes, mom and dad, I did say that. You have been very difficult at moments, as I have been difficult. We fight a lot, I think that was our biggest thing is we're like, okay, how can Miss Tina, who has a purpose to help seniors, including her parents, take off her bossy pants? Did you know I had bossy pants?
Yes. Quite a few pair of them.
These are them today. No, I'm just kidding. And continue to do what I do, which is try to help seniors live their highest quality of life. That's what it really comes down to. And my purpose and trying to figure that out is for myself is like, well, why do I want my parents here? Well, because I want them to live their highest quality of life. I don't think that they're living that right now in their home where that they're trying to take care of and they're trying to manage things and they're trying to, we've had some falls and we've had some setbacks and And overall, I want them to live their highest quality of life. And I know that they can do that, not in my house, but next to my house.
Right. Close enough. Close
Yeah,
enough.
close enough. So my summer, where have I been? We had this discussion that went into cleaning out, roughly, let's say, 25, 28 square foot house that is very full.
A lot of years, a lot of
A
memories
lot of
in that
years.
house.
They've been there almost 30 years.
Yeah.
And they kept a lot of stuff. And, that created a whole different feelings of different things, is because I'm like, okay, what is all this stuff?
And what do I do with it?
And what do I do with it? And what does it mean? I thought it would be really awesome to go through, and it was awesome in many moments to go through and like, I don't know what this is. My dad gave me a retirement hat that he got from his buddies at Chrysler. And that meant so much to me but if I would have just picked that up, I didn't know it come from all those coworkers. He worked there 33 years. I didn't know that. So there was so much joy in that journey of cleaning that house, even though it wasn't all joy. It wasn't all joy. There was days that we had to just be like, okay, we're done today and we'll come back again tomorrow. But overall, there was just a lot of joyful moments, and I really appreciated it. And I've learned a lot about it. It's way harder than I expected, because I don't think I was ready.
Yeah.
I don't think I was ready. And I'll tell you, there was nights that my sister's kind of she's the really emotional one of us. And so there was times that we just, we knew we were both going home and crying about, like, okay, this was a really hard day, asking my dad to, give up his things that he thinks they might be broken things, broken things that don't work. You can't get new parts for them. There is no reason to keep them whatsoever. But to him, they were his treasures, and we were making him give up something. And that feels really crappy.
Yeah.
So we did that. So we had to clean out their house, and then we're in the middle of building this apartment. It's not done yet. We're hoping, I don't know, 45 days. Hopefully by the holidays come, they'll be pretty much ready to move in. I've never built a house before, and I thought it would be kind of simple because the concrete was there, the walls were there, the roof was there. All we really had to do was finish the inside. Not so much. Not so much.
It's a pain.
Yeah. So I have been very busy with that. That has been my number one focus. And through all of that, I have to also make sure I want to make sure that I'm still the best Nana.
Mm-hmm.
So I know when I'm tired and cranky and everything else, you take that out on the people closest to you sometimes.
Yeah.
And I have this conversation a lot of times with people. It's like, you just know that person's going to be the one to accept it. So I think that it just happens, and not that I've taken it out on Scarlett, but I probably have not been as engaged Nana the last couple of months because I've been so busy on the other side of the generations.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be so cool when we're all here together.
Right.
When Scarlett comes and she can visit Mama and Papa and Nana and Papa Tim and Uncle Yoda while he's still here. That's the other thing, is my son started his last semester of engineering school, and I'm so incredibly proud of him. But it also is like this ending of my motherhood. I turned 50. My son's graduating college to be a senior. In his last semester to graduate to be an engineer. My parents are moving in. I'm trying to be a good Nana to a 3-year-old and
run a business
and get a business started.
Yeah.
And Nurse Leadership Solutions. I did a couple contracts over the summer before I knew this, and it was great. I went in and did some interim work and different things in order to prepare to take the time off I needed to in order to be there for my parents and make sure that you're not asking, your parents that are older. My parents aren't old, but they're in their 70s. I don't know sorry, Mom. But trying to make sure that they have the help they needed, because it was really stressful on them of how they're going to do that. My dad doesn't get around very well. So that puts all the work on my mom. And we told her to sit down 1,000 times over, but she still didn't sit down. And then to the point that we ended up in the hospital with her, which I knew was my biggest fear.
Yeah.
When I sat down with my parents, I said, the reality of it is my mom something's going to happen to her because she doesn't want to leave my dad because for any length of time. So her life has been narrowed down to being there, them two sitting in the living room. And not to say that they don't do other things, but overall, the caregiver fatigue you could see coming over her, and you can still see it there. And now it's even worse because we're in the middle of all this transition and stuff. But it's she's been a little cranky at times.
Yeah.
And
rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
And I understand that. And overall, it's been a whole different learning experience.
Yeah.
So I don't, it's a blessing. First of all, it's a blessing that I have my parents still. It is a blessing that I'm going to have them with me every day, even though there'll be days that I want to run away from home, I'm sure. But it's a blessing to have the opportunity to move them here. We had a space that was, perfectly set up. Now, if you don't know me, I'm a little OCD about some things. So my garage currently looks like a hoarder's storage unit or storage unit number 10. I don't know, but it's like literally like a little path between my attached garage because everything that was in the 3-car garage that my parents are moving in is packed in mine. And now there are appliances that are going to go in there are coming, and cabinets are coming this week. And so it has been, my mind has been 1,000 other places besides right here with you all. And I do apologize for that. But and Whitney just enjoyed the summer.
I did. I don't know how to follow up after that.
Well,
your summer was very purposeful and meaningful, and you were very busy.
It's funny you say that because I was thinking about this morning, and you're two things. First of all, for your own personal thing, you trained to run a marathon.
I did all summer, 18 weeks.
18 weeks training to run a marathon, and you did that.
I did.
And so that is, to me, first of all, showing your kids
that you can do hard things.
That you can do hard things.
Yeah.
And being a great example. And then also taking care of yourself and, making sure that I'm sure you're in the best shape of your life.
I am.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, you have to be to run a marathon. And you did.
Yep.
You did it.
I did it.
And I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
For the record.
It was hard, but fun. It was a great day. A day I will never forget.
Right. Are you going to do it again?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Once a year, you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could do that, but I can't.
Everybody says that to start with, but you just have to train for it.
Yeah. Well, you are a little younger than I am. So
just a skosh.
Yeah, just a skosh. And then also you spend your time, your kids are home from school for the summer, and you spend your time raising good humans.
Yeah, literally.
As you say. And
stepping away from, working the Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 or whatever the hours were, and going to a, 12-hour schedule, having more days off through the week has been fantastic for me personally and for my family. I get so much more time with my kids, and I appreciate that.
Well, and I think that you have really taken that on as one of your main purposes, is like to raise good humans. And to me, that's extremely important. I did work a lot while my kids were at that age, but overall, I raised 2 amazing humans. I'm not sure exactly how I pulled that off, but I did. And, sometimes, when I'm thinking about my purpose and, like what am I supposed to be doing here? And trust me, I know what I'm supposed to be doing here, but I have why. She's sitting right here. We actually, and it's funny, and cleaning out the stuff at my mom and dad's house, this quilt that you're looking at right here on this table is actually the blanket that was on my grandmother when she was in the nursing home, or senior care community, or whatever you want to call it, when she was there. And it was, I would think she was covered in it when she passed away. And I tell you, I didn't know we kept this. I didn't know my mom did, but we opened it up, and I shouldn't say this because I'm such an advocate of senior care, but when we opened up the box, they smell not, I don't want to say it like pee smell, because then that's what people sometimes think of when they walk into a nursing home, but just the smell of her room and that emotion and being there when she passed, and everything just came right on over me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what am I going to do with this blanket that doesn't smell good? It's not like a potpourri you want to put in your house, um, but overall, I'm not ready to part with it yet. So as you see, we've made a tablecloth of it. But that is that's her, of course. If you guys have watched the previous episode, you know that. And then that's her blanket. And it brings me comfort, and it reminds me that's where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
I love it. We need to get you a little blanket ladder.
We do.
And hang it up in here.
Yeah. We're still, as you notice, we are in podcast room number 3. We are moving around all over. As I told you, my parents' stuff is everywhere. So a couple of things happened. I had a 50th birthday party, and like everything got moved for that. And then everything from there started being piled in my basement in order to accommodate cleaning out my parents' house to be able to put it on the market. So I have stuff everywhere. So this is podcast room number 3. And I think we're going to try to keep this one because it's expandable, and we'll kind of go from there. So this is our first initial setup in this spot, in which I think I said the last time we were on, I think I said this is our new spot, but again, we moved. But we're adapting.
Still working on it.
We're adapting.
Yeah.
But overall, we're going to have to do something to honor. Like I'm just not ready to part with it yet because it reminds me.
And there's no reason to part with it.
Right.
Keep it.
I have washed it and tried to air it out a little bit.
Blankets are very meaningful to me. I don't know how many now. I mean, probably 20, 30 blankets from my mom that she has crocheted for myself and my daughter. And I have every single one of them from when my kids were younger and she made them. Some are like starting to fall apart, but I have those put up in the closet. Like I don't have those out displayed, but I bought a cabinet with glass doors that you can see in, and I have that full of her blankets. And I have a blanket ladder in my living room with my favorite ones that I use, like the ones that I use every day. But I think I'm proud to display those. And I tell my husband all the time, if our house is on fire, and of course our family and animals are out of the house, his thing is get all the taxidermy, all the deer heads.
I was gonna say he wants
get the deer, get the turkey, get all the animals off the walls, and I say just get my chest with my blankets in it and my blanket ladder. Like those are the things that I will keep forever, and I hope my daughter will keep forever when I'm gone.
Sometimes it gets harder as you get older, and to decide what you're keeping or not keeping, and how do you keep big things. And I actually have a quilt that was made from all of my daughters. We collected those teddy bears every year with the date on the foot for Christmas.
Yeah.
We collected every one of them from the day her first year she was born until she was 18, I think. Pretty close in there. And someone graciously took those and made a beautiful blanket out of them. And so you can always do, because I thought about, I could make this into like put it in a picture, like take out a piece of it and put it in a frame with her picture or make it the background or something, but I haven't decided. But anyway, I've just again, this is a opportunity where I got to sit down and go through all this stuff. And of course, when I opened up this one, I would have known what it was when I opened it, even if my parents weren't there. But it was a pleasant surprise to know that we still had that. And I have weird things too. I have like the things that went in our hands, and if you're a nurse and you've had to change those, not the most pleasant things. So those have been very thoroughly bleached and washed, because, when your hands contract sometimes, which when you're really at the end stages, that sweat gets in there and creates an issue. But I kept that because that was something little that I could like. There it is,
Yeah.
But
I have my grandma's coffee cup that she used every single day.
Yeah.
Every day. Still has, it's from like Summersville or something. I don't even know what is on the cup, but I have never washed it. It still is like brown and probably still has remnants of her Folgers coffee in it. And I don't use it. I should, but it's such a small little coffee cup. But I kept that of my grandma's. I kept her purse. She loved this specific purse, and she always would stuff Walmart bags in her purses, so they kept the shape of how she originally got them. And Callie will use that purse every once in a while. She'll say, "Can I use grandma's purse?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine." It's very much an old lady purse, like not anything I would ever carry, but
Right.
it was what my grandma carried every day, so I wanted to keep it. And a few little like knickknacks that she loved in her house and always decorated her house with. My grandma had the cutest apartment. And even when she lived in the senior care community that I worked at, which I was fortunate enough to move her into there, her apartment was the one I always wanted to show because it looked just like her apartment before she moved in. She had it set up so nice and so elegant, and I didn't get that from her. There's nothing elegant about my house.
Your
I
house
don't
is
have
beautiful.
good decoration skills.
Oh, well, we searched everywhere for something green in my house, and I don't have anything. It's definitely not my forte because it's too hard to clean all that stuff. If you got it everywhere and making it all look pretty, and then it's hard to keep it clean.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to be cleaning things.
And if I do have time, I don't want to be using my time doing that.
Exactly. I read a lot of things sometimes. It's like, you don't spend so much time. Don't worry. Your kids aren't going to remember that your house is clean. I mean, unless it's like really, really dirty. But overall, they're not going to remember, was it dusty? My son has been away at college and we were coming back. We were getting ready for my 50th party. And I guess all these years he didn't realize his mom was a little OCD about things. But told him, I said, go get a black towel out of the closet and take it downstairs and fold it this particular way and hang it up in the bathroom downstairs. And he's like, what are we, bougie now or something? I was like, it's folding a towel 3 ways and hanging it up. But, that I just, I don't want to take the time. And I guess I didn't take enough time because, he didn't really notice it. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I didn't take too much time cleaning, even though I feel like I cleaned a lot. But overall, don't worry about your house being so clean if you're making memories, which both of us did. So, this is joy within the journey. And both of us took some time to create our own joy. We won't take that much time again. My apologies. I told her, I said, okay, girl, you got to come. We got to get something recorded. And so here we are getting it recorded. And it's not that we've missed you too, but overall, we had to take some time and take care of the most important people in our lives. And her kids, I know, are hers, and my parents, and my granddaughter, and of course my own children. And there's just all these people that I have in my life that I just find I just don't want to not spend time with them.
Yeah.
And
I'm the same way. And the older I get, I'm more like, I need that time. I want that time. Like, life is so short.
It really is.
I don't want to lose out on the little things. The little things mean so much to me the older I get.
We know we've seen a lot of people pass away as nurses. And I think it gave me a really good perspective on the fact that it could be any moment.
Literally.
And I've had some instances. My significant other, I don't know if I've ever shared this on another episode, but he had a GI bleed last year. And right in front of my eyes stopped breathing, and I, was getting ready to put him on the floor to start CPR when he came around again and just throwing up blood everywhere. It was a horrid experience. But really, in that minute, I just thought I was losing him. And so, besides all my nursing, that when we know, I mean, we pretty much know people in senior care, you know it's coming. It it bothers me just the same. I thought about all the times I was telling someone the other day that, they were like, I don't cry that much. Well, because I've had to develop these techniques,
Mm-hmm.
where I shouldn't tell my techniques, but as a nurse, you're trying to be there and be strong for the family. You can't be standing next to them crying your eyes out. You can.
Oh, I do.
I know you do.
I
There's no
haven't.
doubt you do.
I need the techniques because I have not mastered that yet after 16 years
I
of
have
being a
not
nurse.
mastered it either, for the record, but I can keep it enough under control that I am not hysterically crying, because once I start crying, I really start crying. But typically I'm just like looking at the wall going like blue, 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 purple, purple, purple. I'm like trying to like get emotions out of my mind so I can think clearly as a nurse, because we stand there and sometimes we don't know these people at all, but it means everything for us to be there when they're taking their last breath. We're helping them be comfortable. We're helping them be
making sure they're not alone.
that they're not alone.
What bothers me the most. I have accepted end of life and dying of natural causes, and 9 times out of 10 that individual has accepted it too, and they're ready. They're done suffering, and that makes it easier to accept. But it still gets me now being in the hospital when they don't have anybody there.
Right.
That bothers me.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And so you see these instances, and my mom had a health crisis just last month, and my dad has had 100 health crises. So we're fortunate every day. And we say, oh, we're talking about seniors, but you don't have to be a senior for your number to be called.
Right.
And I think that has given me a grand appreciation for. I want to make sure that I'm not spending too much time on what I don't want to do.
Yeah.
What I don't want to do is not be using my purpose and making a difference every day. So I did have an assignment that was pretty intensive over the summer, and it's getting in a senior care community and being highly involved in the day-to-day nursing actions, and making sure that those particular residents are getting the best care that they can possibly do, and helping set up that community for future success. And so I just felt like I took the whole summer to use the gifts that I've been provided in order to do that. So it did take more time and energy and mental and emotional exhaustion, just absolute exhaustion, because I still have to occasionally remind myself to pause. You can't do it all. and I have to do that sometimes,
and to ask for help.
Oh, I know that was a direct hit. That was a direct hit, because I don't even know where I need help, so I just start doing, and it's hard for me to ask people for help because everyone's busy. You just feel like everyone is busy, and everyone has their priorities and their purposes, and you don't want to interfere with that. But in turn, I know that those people would. Whitney's a prime example of someone that would jump and come whenever I need her, and I have had to say, hey, meet me at my parents' house. My dad's on the floor, or something's going on, or whatever. Yeah, I'll tell you, when my mom had a health crisis, it was the day we'd spent the entire week setting up this tent of garage sale stuff. It was a subdivision sale in their subdivision. We spent the entire week, I'm sorry, preparing for this garage sale. And we put up a tent in the yard and filled it with stuff. We had stuff in the yard. We had stuff everywhere. We were pricing stuff on the day before. And my mom had a health crisis, right? And as we were preparing, and went down in the living room, and I won't share everything because she's not quite the open book I am, but that garage sale immediately, like we have all this stuff all over our yard, all their all their things that are important. Even though we talked my dad into getting rid of some of those things, he was still just as uncomfortable letting them go as if they were tucked up in his attic and he hadn't seen them for 20 years. But I'll tell you that that was a moment of the people that you need in your life because, as we're sitting from the moment we have her on the floor, preparing for the fact that we have to, like, we're getting her airway situated. We're on the phone with 911. We're waiting for the ambulance. This might choke me up.
Dang it.
Sorry. My brain, if you know me, my brain's already thinking 3 steps ahead. And I'm the I guess you could call it my bossy pants again. I'm the bossy pants of the family. So I'm already like, okay, the ambulance on his way. They're going to get in here. They could be initiating, CPR, getting a defibrillator out. There could be so much happening here that we're getting ready to tackle. I need to clear things out of the way. I need to get everybody. And, my sister is at my mom's head and, I think she knows what she's getting ready to maybe have to start doing, but I know I can see my mom and I know we're not there yet. So I'm like, okay, she's breathing still. And, it was rough, but overall it wasn't time to do CPR.
Right.
There wasn't nothing I could be doing at that moment. So I'm already on the phone, trying to figure out the next steps. I'm thinking, where is my dad? My dad needs help to get in the car. We got to get him in the car. We got to be ready to run when the ambulance gets here because I really kind of felt like that's where we were. And, I'm like, Dad, go let Jim, which is my brother-in-law, let him go get you in the car. And, that is that moment where my task mind took over my daughter mind because I'm like, Dad, go get in the car. Well, of course my dad's not going to go get in the car. They've been married 57 years. He's like, I'm staying right here with my wife. I want to get down on the floor. And then I'm like, Dad, don't get down on the floor because then we're going to be getting both of you up. But in the same instance, like I'm already thinking, like, what are we doing next? And all these people around me. And, it took all of us to figure out. And from that immediate moment, I'm like, okay, how are we going to take care of both of them? The caregiver's down and someone has to take care of Dad. Yeah. He can't live by himself. And or take care of her or her take care of him in this situation. And I'm already going through those things in my mind of like, how are we going to handle this and what's going to happen? Meanwhile, we have this huge garage sale in the front yard. And so you talk about needing help. And that's the moment where, okay, we're at the hospital, no CPR was needed. She came back too. We're at the hospital and like maneuvering things around and trying to make sure that my dad's with his wife and that he also was having his care needs met. And, I have 3 siblings when I'm already sitting there like, okay, who's staying with Dad tonight? His dad can't stay at the hospital all night long. Who's staying with Dad tonight? Who's staying with Mom tonight? Who's going from there? And that was a moment where my mama pride and my purpose of raising good humans came in. My daughter stayed with my mom all night long so I could go home and sleep because I was already exhausted. We'd been doing this, going through these routes and what comes next. And so my siblings, 2 of my siblings stayed with my dad. And then my significant other, I might as well call him my husband, and my brother-in-law ran the garage sale the next day because we had this stuff all everywhere. It was already advertised, like people were coming no matter what. And that was a moment where you realize, okay, this is why I need all these people in my life because
you can't do it all by yourself.
The reality of it was I just had to go home and go to bed.
Yeah.
That's all I could do at that moment. And I felt terrible for it. I'm like, why am I not the one at the hospital? Why am I not the one with Dad? But there was nothing left of me to give that day. And I had to call it quits. And that was a moment where I'm like, okay, this is why you have to why you have to use the people around you and everything. And everyone was good. I mean, it was there wasn't anyone that was doing something they didn't want to do. But it's challenging when you're being a caregiver and trying to figure out things, trying to balance life, and so
That's a
thank you.
big responsibility.
So thank you for being one of those people that would be like, Tina, go get some rest. I'll never forget when COVID came around. I got COVID right pretty much right out of the gates. I was working at a unit, and this lady called my boss and told him to take me off work. And I was like, I'm going to kill you because I need to be here. We had set up a skilled unit in an assisted living, and we had a lot of people with COVID. It was crazy situation. But I got COVID. I got exhausted, mental fog, joints hurt, legs hurt, everything hurt. Um,
You can't be the best version of yourself like that.
I know. I couldn't. And so then so I didn't even get the chance. I mean, I was having to stay home, or I could only work with COVID positive people. I don't remember what we were doing at that moment, but she called and I had to take off work. So that's been her thing that she does, is call me on my overworking crap. So I just wanted to touch base and say this is where we are. I'd be really interested in talking to other family members. We'll probably have my sister join us one day because, of course, she will cry the whole time. And when she cries, I'll cry. And, it might be emotional, but, it's so hard to get people to share their stories because they're so emotional.
Yeah.
They're so emotional, and you kind of tuck them into a little package so you can deal with them. I mean, that's what you have to do, is tuck them into a little box inside your heart, so you can deal with them. And but there's so much other people can learn from what you have went through.
You could save so many people by just sharing your story.
Right. I said I was going to see some assisted livings on Friday, and I went to two that I was familiar with. And one, I went and talked to a little couple that actually lives there, and how is it? And what do you like about it? What do you not like about it? What about the other people? What do they follow up with? How's food? All the basic questions that I already know to ask, but I happen to know this couple and whatever. So I went there. And then I went to another assisted living that I don't know that well. It is bigger and nicer, but bigger and nicer isn't always better because she's further away from the dining room. And like everybody seemed kind of disconnected instead of kind of connected. And I'll have to say that made me very proud because it was a previous building of mine, and the family recognized that it was warmer and more inviting in a building that wasn't as nice, but it was warmer and more inviting and more family oriented. And I do have to say that made me very proud because I know the administrator of the other one. I actually helped her get her license and to be an administrator. And I was delighted to hear that because, as you get to be in operations and everything, sometimes you get so much to looking at. You're there all the time, and you're looking for what's wrong and what's not going right for the people, for a good purpose. But overall, it was challenging. So we went to the other one, though. And the other one, I talked to two family members. Two gentlemen happened to be sitting outside, and they were talking and telling me all about their experience and everything else. But it was hard. And, I'll have to say, I sat there and talked to the gentleman for 30 minutes. I knew that someone was unloading a hospital bed or a mattress, or something was happening at the building at the exact same time, which had nothing to do with our conversation. So, I didn't ask because these were just visitors of the building. But that very next day, that gentleman's mom passed. So I think she had been put on hospice and passed within like 24, 48 hours of that conversation. So as a nurse, I felt bad. I'm like, I didn't even know. I didn't know that you're standing there. I'm asking you all these questions about this building, which she gave great reviews, not grave, great, great reviews. But overall, he was standing there dealing with the fact that his mom was down the hall passing away. I didn't know that. So I challenge you families to get in contact and say, hey, I want to share my story because other families need to hear it. Everybody thinks they're alone, and it's healing to talk about it. It's really hard for me to talk about going through these stages. Even it's harder for me to talk about helping other people through the stages, but it's really hard to talk about when it's your own stage.
Right.
And so I would love to.
But you can help prepare someone else who's about to go through the same thing.
So maybe we need to have one about your preparation because your grandmother lived with you in your building.
She did.
So maybe that'll be a future episode.
Maybe after you give me those tips,
purple,
tips and tricks.
I know it sounds crazy, but you just can't, like, I'm an ugly crier, and once I start crying, I just can't pull it back. And then I don't want the family to ever having to be console me for their loved one, So I try to, I hold it all in, which isn't always isn't a good thing, but overall,
I mean, you have to let it out eventually.
Yeah,
maybe hold it in during the moment, but then run to another room and let it out.
There's many nurses that run to the next room and let it all out, hold their stuff together, and then come back and try to be there for the family. Or there's times I've cried with the family.
Yeah,
I've just seen in this process. I was talking to families. Someone came and looked at my mom and dad's house when we had an open house. That I had one of the first gentlemen that I ever seen actively engaged. And it's nothing against you men, but overall it's the daughters or the daughter-in-laws or the wives. Not as often do we see men coming in to be the caregiver support in senior living.
Right.
A little bit more now, but back in 1998, I still remember the fact that this grandson came and fed his grandma every single day. And that is unheard of. And he happened to be the one coming to look at my mom and dad's house. And I mentioned it to him because I was so touched by the fact that he had that kind of dedication to his grandmother. Of course, my grandmother lived there at the time. So,
have you seen the grandson on TikTok?
No.
That goes to his grandma's skilled. She's in a skilled community. She has dementia, but he goes to feed her. Well, I don't know if he feeds her. Every video he isn't feeding her, but it's like mealtime because she's in the dining room. And he goes to see her every single day and has to remind her sometimes, like, who am I? Who am I? And you can tell she's like, I know who you are, but she can't get it out. Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I just don't remember.
I have cried multiple times watching his videos.
Don't make me cry about something. So if I need to cry, I need to let it out. I can watch this show.
Yeah.
So that's how it works. There's a lot of documentaries and different things coming out, and some of it's great, some of it's not so great, some of it's pro senior care, seniors, some of it's not pro, and it really makes me struggle watching some of them.
Yeah.
What's the one on Netflix? The man, it's Ted Danson.
That you told me to watch.
You didn't watch it?
No, the one that you told me to watch, that one?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I don't remember what it was called.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I want to make my kids watch it.
Yeah. That really, I really enjoyed that. I highly recommend it. It's Ted Danson on Netflix. I think it's still on there. It's called The Man on the Inside. The Man on the Inside.
Yep, that's it.
And basically he goes in kind of undercover as a, to dig up the things on this assisted living or whatever, to find out who's stealing stuff in the assisted living. That's right. There's a thief at the assisted living. And in that, it's a series, I think, I don't know how many shows it is. And it was so good because, the thief is always a dementia person. And we're sorry, family members. We know sometimes you all don't understand. We try to get it from, but, restricting one over the other and how it works out, overall things can be found. So it's not a crisis until it really can't be found. And then most buildings are going to be like, we're going to replace it if we can't find it. Right. I mean, that's the right thing to do. But we also know that a lot of things can't be replaced. If it's a ring or, something of significance, emotional significance, it can't be replaced. But this is about, it ends up being someone with dementia. I'm giving them, oh my gosh, I'm being a spoiler alert.
Oh, we should have said that. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. But it if you know anything about assisted living, you should know it before the first episode should tell you what's going to happen. I knew immediately what the situation was. I don't even know if he had moved into the building before I knew. But then it just goes into the administrator's role or executive director role, whatever title. I'm not into titles. Titles and degrees really mean little to me. And I hope I don't lose any watchers for that. Just to me, who you are and what you've learned and what you've experienced, because I can tell you there was very little I learned in nursing school that actually taught me for the real world. It's the experience I have that makes me feel like I can talk to you today. Not the fact that I'm a nurse. Quite frankly, you wouldn't want me to give you an IV or do it in G tube or anything these days. But overall, it was amazing. But I knew what was going to happen. But then there's the other ones. There's one out right now that I watched on Amazon or something, and it's anti-senior living. Don't recommend you watching that if you're thinking about, or if you have to make the decision of senior living, unless you're very open-minded and understand, and then ask questions about it. It has a good storyline. I understand the perspective of the person, but I'm also on the operation side of it, sitting back going, it's not that simple. It's not that cut and dry.
Right.
It's not that we shouldn't be throwing people under the bus, because quite frankly, when I'm watching, I've only watched the first 2 episodes, and I actually feel like they're throwing the caregivers under the bus. They're blaming the CEOs, but it's the caregivers that they're really throwing under the bus. And there's a lot of dynamics in that we should pay them more, we should have more, and I would be love to have more episodes on all of that. But overall, it to me it didn't help the situation.
Well, and senior care is not going anywhere. We're only going to need more buildings. We're only going to need more CNAs, more nurses.
And so that goes to my purpose. And what I was talking about is, what's it? Yeah, there's negatives. There's negatives. There's people that get neglected. There are people that don't get proper care. They're understaffed. They're overworked. They're underpaid. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on, but it is a much bigger issue than some CEO decided I don't want to provide proper care. I mean, so that was what this movie got into, and I'm not, I'm not getting into details of that, because I respect a lot of people that were, involved in the movie, and I can't even say that I disagree with some of their things. But we need a solution. We don't need to be beating them down anymore. Right. We don't need more regulations. We don't need more. We don't need more lawsuits. We don't need any of those things. We need people to decide we need to take care of our seniors of this country.
We need people to fall in love with senior care again and find that passion.
And pointing out the bad things. And, and the funny thing of it is you can point at a bad thing. I can point at a pressure ulcer. I can point at a fracture. I can point at a fall. I can point at those things. I can't point at the feeling that happens when the person that you're caring for is doing better. And when I say doing better, has a higher quality of life because you were there.
Yeah.
You can't point at that. And so it's really hard. Nobody wraps that up into a pretty picture and shows it to everyone.
Yeah.
The man aside is close, but it starts out with a negative thing. And if you're not open-minded to the fact that there could be positives, you might even look at it. If it's your mother's diamond necklace that's missing, you might decide, well, it's not worth it. I don't care about that dementia person. But
me knowing what I know, I wouldn't send my mother's diamond necklace to her.
Right. You shouldn't send your
long-term care community.
You should get one that looks just like it. I visited this building. As soon as I visited this building, the woman that knows me, and she asked everyone, so it's not because she knows me, but I used to put on a piece of costume jewelry almost every day when I walked in there, because she would ask me for my jewelry. She'd like, oh, I love that necklace. And eventually I'd be taking it off and putting it on her and walking out without my necklace. So I learned, don't wear the necklace you want to keep when I walk in there. Right. Because, even the little couple that I interviewed, like, I already told her she can't have my jewelry because she asked for my jewelry. This is special jewelry. And I could, she's wearing sentimental jewelry. Right. versus costume jewelry. And she's totally fine with costume jewelry, that you can get for 50 cents or $1, at a garage sale or whatever. But that makes her day.
Mhm.
It makes her day. And knowing what we know, I prepare that. I prepared to make her day by putting on a piece of costume jewelry that I know I could give away.
Yeah.
And I remember buying stacks of it at times and just putting it on, going in. She's going to take it. Putting on, going in. She's going to take it. And I know that made her very, very, very happy.
Yeah.
And how simple and how cheap and how meaningful for me to give that joy to her and for her to receive that joy from me. So
it really is the little things.
It is the little things. And that's why I want everyone, and I do apologize for the lag of time, but I do want everyone to stay tuned to Joy Within the Journey because, I've personally had a lot of joyful moments in the last few months that has kept me busy because my parents are my number one priority right now. And of course, the setups in my thing. I guess I could have said, Whitney, go do a podcast for me, and I wasn't here, and she would have. But overall, we just took some time to really hone in on my purpose. I got some experience in the field. Whitney taught some classes for us. She teaches level 1 med aid classes through Nurse Leadership Solutions, and I taught one in Kansas City, and overall, we love it because then we're teaching the next person.
Yeah.
A lot of times the director of nursing is having to teach that class and they're being pulled 100 different directions. It's stressing her. It's stressing the students for her to be running in and out. It's stressing that they're not getting the proper teaching because they're running in and out. They think you already know things because you already work there. But overall, having a dedicated instructor like Whitney to come in and really give them that undivided attention to learn and get that moment of I'm important to this company because they're willing to invest in me and grow me into a position that I can grow from.
It was nice to get back in the buildings for those classes. And I, of course, am drawn to the residents and just to get to visit with them and meet new people. It was good. It was a good time.
Yeah. The one I taught this was a really good time too. I enjoyed it. So do you have anything you want to share?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining us, and stay tuned because we will be back.
We're back.
And we'll get our setup a little fancier here. We got some ideas and of course utilize our quilt. But overall, thank you for joining us today and stay tuned for further episodes. Have a good day, everyone.